A billionaire surrounded by his wealthy friends. A homeless black woman ignored by the world. One arrogant challenge that changes everything. When a millionaire mocks her and says, "I'll give you this jet if you can fly it," everyone laughs, expecting her to fail. But what they don't know is that behind those tired eyes hides a legend. A woman once celebrated as from the streets to the cockpit, from humiliation to revelation. This is the story of Captain Eleanor Williams, a homeless wanderer with a past more powerful than wealth, and a secret that will silence arrogance forever. Stay with us till the end, because what begins as a cruel joke ends with a lesson that no fortune can buy. A story of dignity, respect, and the true meaning of greatness. On the edge of a busy private airport, a group of wealthy men gathered around a sleek white jet. Among them stood Richard Holloway, a billionaire known for his arrogance, his fortune made in oil and real estate. Richard loved showing off his wealth and humiliating those he considered beneath him. As the sun set, painting the sky with golden fire, a frail-looking black woman walked past the gates, holding a small torn bag. Her clothes were dirty, her hair tangled, and her eyes tired. She looked like just another homeless wanderer, ignored by society. Richard's friends noticed her and smirked. "Look, Richard," said one, laughing, "seems like your new pilot has arrived." Richard chuckled, his voice dripping with mockery. "Hey, lady, you want a job? Tell you what." He raised his hand toward the jet. "I'll give you this plane if you can fly it." The group erupted in laughter. They expected her to turn away, embarrassed, maybe even beg for money. But the woman didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped closer, her tired eyes locking on Richard's with an intensity that silenced the mockery for a brief second. "You'll give me the plane?" she asked quietly, her voice steady. Richard smirked. "If you can get it off the ground, yes, it's yours." The men laughed again, but something about the woman's calm demeanor unsettled Richard. She didn't look confused. She didn't look scared. She looked confident. The woman dropped her bag gently to the ground and said, "Then move aside." The crowd's laughter stopped. "Wait, what?" one of the men said. Without hesitation, she climbed the steps of the jet, her movements sure and practiced, as though she had done it 1,000 times before. Inside, her hands brushed across the controls with familiarity. Her fingers trembled, not from fear but from the flood of old memories. For the first time in years, she was back in a cockpit. Richard shouted, Wait, you can't just... This is a $40 million aircraft." But it was too late. The homeless woman's hands moved gracefully, flipping switches, running checks, adjusting dials. Every motion was precise. Every move belonged to someone who knew exactly what she was doing. Engines roared to life. The jet trembled as power surged through its core. Richard's friends stared in disbelief. She knows what she's doing," one whispered. The woman adjusted her headset, her voice steady. "Tower, this is Echo 1 requesting permission for takeoff." The tower responded immediately. Echo 1 cleared for takeoff. Richard froze. How did she even know the call signs? The plane taxied forward, engines screaming with power. Then, with a surge of speed, it lifted into the sky. The jet cut across the fading sunset, a silhouette of power and grace. From the ground, Richard and his friends stood in stunned silence. Minutes later, the plane circled back, descending smoothly. The landing was flawless, the kind only a seasoned pilot could execute. The jet rolled to a perfect stop. The door opened, and the woman stepped out, her posture tall and proud. She looked at Richard, whose arrogant grin had vanished, replaced with shock. "You said the plane was mine," she said, her voice carrying strength now. Who are you?" Richard stammered. The woman looked into the distance, her eyes misty with old memories. "My name is Captain Eleanor Williams. Once they called me the Queen of the Skies." Gasps spread through the group.
Everyone knew the name. Eleanor Williams, the first black woman to break barriers in the Air Force, a decorated pilot who had led countless missions, honored as one of the finest aviators of her generation. But after tragedy struck, losing her family in a car accident, she disappeared from the public eye, consumed by grief, eventually slipping into homelessness. Richard's arrogance crumbled. But what happened to you? He asked quietly. Her gaze hardened. Life happened. Loss happened. And while you mocked me because of what I look like today, you forgot that dignity and skill don't vanish with poverty. The silence that followed was heavy. Even Richard's friends lowered their heads in shame. Eleanor picked up her torn bag. "I don't need your plane," she said firmly. "What I needed was respect." She turned to walk away, but one of Richard's companions, an older man who had once served in the military, stepped forward with tears in his eyes. "Captain Williams, it's an honor," he said, saluting her. The others followed, their laughter replaced with reverence. Richard, overwhelmed with guilt, called out, "Wait, please, let me help you." Eleanor paused but didn't turn around. Help doesn't come from pride. It comes from humility. Learn that lesson, and maybe you'll truly fly. With that, she disappeared into the night, leaving behind a group of men forever changed. From that day on, the story of the homeless woman who flew a millionaire's jet spread across the city. She became a symbol, a reminder that greatness hides behind the faces we often ignore. And Richard Holloway, the billionaire who once mocked her, never forgot the moment he learned that true wealth is not measured in money or possessions, but in respect.